Yes. How is Washington today?
Washington is fine. Washington is good. We are very, very busy here in lockdown.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, I was going to do a test run, but I think since you are in Washington, your internet is performing better than our own at home. So we will manage. And if there are problems, we have other gadgets here in case of emergency. Yes. So, yes, I believe it will. So, the usual protocol is to do a short introduction, but you don't need any introduction. Everybody knows Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, and we're very, very proud of what you've been doing. You inspire us all the time. You're a global citizen, and you are without borders. I'm sure you can travel without a passport.
I haven't reached that far, Dele, please.
No, you can't get lost anywhere, man. You can never get lost anywhere. You just get there, you say, my name is Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. They just say, welcome. Yes, you end it. So, but before we start, I will I'll play you a song that I believe you will enjoy. It's by Frank Edwards, and it's titled Under the Canopy. Okay. So I hope you enjoy it, Under the Canopy.
Thank you. He's one of my favorites.
Fantastic. Thank you, man. Yes, man.
I wish I could be home dancing. Although this is not the time, given the kind of trouble we're in.
I can't hear you, man.
I said, Dele, I wish I could be home dancing, but unfortunately, this is not the time, given the...
I know. That's okay. We have to keep hope alive, and we have to give hope to people out there. Life must continue because it's been crazy out here, going nowhere and everything. But we'll talk about it, but we still must praise God, and we need God at this time. Okay, man, please enjoy the music. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, on this program, we try to relax our guests because it's a life worth celebrating. You're, appointed a special envoy of the World Health Organization. What are you supposed to be doing?
Thank you so much, Dele. Thank you. It's really an honor and a privilege. And, when these things happen, I'm always glad to be a Nigerian. No matter how difficult things are in our country, we have to be proud of who we are. And so it's with great honor that I accepted, along with Sir Andrew Whitty of the UK, to be a WHO envoy for a new initiative that they have, which is to accelerate the production of vaccines, therapeutics, and diagnostics to solve this COVID-19 problem. So that we are supposed to, the two of us, help to facilitate the acceleration of the production of these vaccines and medicines so that the world can solve this problem. And one very important aspect of it, the reason why we were brought in, is that everybody wants this vaccine to be what is called a global public good, meaning that whoever finds it should not try to claim the intellectual property for themselves alone. If they do that, that means that they can charge whatever they want, and not everybody will be able to get hold of it and make a lot of profit. So the world has decided at the big launch on Friday with all these presidents from all over the world, including our own President Ramaphosa and the chair of the AU, Mr. Musa Faki, they've all decided that from the get-go, when we find a vaccine, it must be handled in a way that there are sufficient volumes to everyone in the world and that it is sufficiently affordable for all countries to be able to purchase for their citizens. So that's why we're there, to make sure that this happens. In the past, we've had occasion when there was vaccine, and then there wasn't enough quantity. It was only people in the rich world who got it first, and then we had to wait in line. So this time we don't want that to happen.
But are you aware about the controversies surrounding WHO at the moment? It seems some people believe they are doing a good job. Some people believe they are not doing a good job. So how would your appointment enhance the public perception? Are you working on that?
I think that if you look at this, you will see that our African countries have been solidly behind WHO and behind Dr. Tedros. This is not an easy time. To be running a huge institution like that is supposed to take care of the public health of the world. And we are proud that one of our African brothers is heading this institution. And he's doing his best. There's no institution that will not make a mistake here and there. But by and large, he's doing his best. We want to support him solidly. And I was very proud when all the African presidents on numerous occasions came forward to say we are strongly behind him. So WHO, I think they are doing a good job, and we should just continue to do that job. If there have been mistakes, they should be remedied. There's nobody above mistake. So remedy it and move on. And I believe that one of the reasons that I was appointed, they have somebody from the global north, which is Andrew Whitty, and then they want to match it from someone from the global south to play that really is a monumental task, but by God's grace we'll be able to accomplish.
Also, Auntie Ngozi, there is a lot of propaganda against vaccines. Mm-hmm. How would you be able to change people's mind? There was resistance even to polio vaccination in some parts of Nigeria, and the same thing is recurring. So how do we deal with this?
Dele, you raise an absolutely good point, and I'm happy with you for raising it, because there's a lot of controversy around vaccines, and a lot of people who put things on the internet that are just not true. I really want to reassure Nigerians that vaccines are not put on the market until they are very, very, very safe. That is why it takes years to develop a vaccine. The fastest one developed so far was Ebola at 5 years. And this one that they're trying to do, yes, it took that long. Even up till today, they don't have any vaccine for HIV. That will tell you how difficult that nobody wants to rush so far. There are many scientists working on it all around the world, and they believe they can do something within 12 to 18 months. But they will not allow this vaccine to come on market. WHO will not allow it until they are sure that it is safe and will not harm humans. So people should rest assured on that. Yes, so I would like people not to listen to all the sentiments that are against vaccines. Look at what happened with measles. Let me just take, for example, when you neglect the vaccine, people will die from that infectious disease. And you have to ask yourself, if 2 out of 100 people die because of a vaccine and 98 people are saved, what should you do with that vaccine? You should give it so that 98 people will live. In DRC, when they were looking after Ebola, everybody was concentrating on Ebola, and they forgot about the measles vaccine. Do you know that 2.5 times more people died of measles than of Ebola? That is why the organization I work for, Gavi, is insisting that alongside the work on COVID-19, we must not forget the routine immunization and the vaccination against all the other diseases. Cholera, measles, yellow fever. We must continue.
Wow. I'm happy you mentioned about some of their superstars saying they don't want their people to be.
I lost you. Sorry, I lost that part.
Okay, I said in the Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, a lot of their celebrities came out recently to protest against the French trying to use their people as guinea pigs to test the vaccines. So, I don't know if you can address that.
Yeah, no, I understand, and this is, the Africans should not be seen as people who will be used for testing any vaccine. We are not guinea pigs. And the WHO is making very sure. Dr. Tedros actually came out to address that issue. And he said that Africans are not going to be seen in that way. And I can assure you that right here in America, Americans are the ones that are being used to test these vaccines. In Europe, at Oxford University, it is British people who are of a young man who is a medical student. He was one of the volunteers. So they are testing them here on their own citizens. So we don't have to worry. But when the time comes, I hope we'll keep an open mind, because without these vaccines, we will not have a sustainable solution to this pandemic. So people who say they will not take it, they are just endangering themselves and the rest of the world. I mean, Dele, what do you think? Let me ask you yourself. What do you think of this? How will you help to spread the word?
Yes, I've always told people that there is nothing we enjoy in the world today that some people did not have to make sacrifice for. There is nothing. Some people, as a matter of fact, my wife was saying if she was in England, she would have been tempted to go to Oxford and be a volunteer. I think the attitude of Africans is that everything is negative and we must only wait until it is positive and then we can benefit from it. I don't see what is wrong with vaccines. We've been taking it right from the time we were very young. I mean, we all had what we called inoculation in those days, and we carried the scars forever.
Thank you so much.
Yes, when we were young. And some people, of course, must have volunteered before it became something that everybody could use all over the world.
Thank you. We need voices like your own. We need voices like yours to speak out, please.
I know. Now, we need to talk about COVID-19 specifically. So what are the challenges that you see, particularly in Africa?
Well, this COVID-19, I've called it an existential threat, because the way that the thing spreads is so fast from one person to the other. That is what is scary. And the fact that people can give it to you when they don't even know they have it. That is what they call people being asymptomatic. You may not even be sick, but you're carrying it and you can give it to someone else. The second thing that is a bit scary about COVID-19 is that nobody knows anything about it. If you ask the scientists, it's like we're on a journey of discovery. Every day they discover the symptoms, what it can do and cannot do. So that is why it is so important that we all pay attention to the little bit we know on how to take care of ourselves. In Africa, on the African continent, and in Nigeria, this thing came to us. This COVID actually came as an economic crisis first, before the health crisis. So what we first felt was a crash in the prices of commodities that countries on the continent sell. Before the COVID even arrived, we were already suffering from the fall in the oil price, the fall in the price of industrial metals, in gold, in other kinds of commodities sold all around the continent. They were crashing. So the issue was, how do we deal with what economists call an exogenous shock? Whilst we were trying to figure that one out, the health crisis arrived. So we have a double or triple whammy: this economic crisis, health crisis, and we hope that it doesn't then turn into a third one, a food crisis. So, and our economies, they are not like the ones in the West. We have a lot of workers in the informal sector. They earn their living on a daily basis. So we need to think, what are the solutions we have that are appropriate to our place? Because when this kind of thing happens, you need shock therapy. So the fact that they closed down in the beginning, I think, was a good thing, because otherwise all of us will continue with business as usual, isn't it? But now, because we earn on a daily basis, they have to figure out how to get out of the lockdown, because we cannot keep the lockdown for too long, or people will go too hungry. So those are the things. And so I think we need to figure out our own way of, one, taking precautions, wearing the mask, doing as much social distancing, meaning we can't gather in the large crowds we used to gather before for some time. Even when we have to go to market, we have to space ourselves out. We need water for sanitation. In those places that don't have water, many of our communities, whether rural or urban, they don't have water. So how do we get clean water so people can wash their hands? Some of these simple things, I think governments can help us with. The rest, I think governments are trying to issue what economists call economic stimulus, fiscal stimulus, which is to put as much money into the economy to help us recover. But it will not be enough. So that is why the African Union invited some of us to come and be envoys to see, okay, how much can we also mobilize in addition to what we have? We have a duty to help ourselves first. And then on top of that, because we did not cause this pandemic, others should also come and assist.
It lags its own lockdown. Do you think this was too much in a haste, or have you followed the story in Ghana to see if there is something other parts of Africa can learn from Ghana?
I think I don't know the numbers of Ghana today. Generally, if your curve starts flattening, as they say, you can start easing on the restrictions. But I know the Ghanaians came out very, very early with stringent measures. So if they are beginning to open up, I'm not surprised. As I said to you, Dele, given the structure of our economies, we cannot have too lengthy a lockdown. Otherwise, people will come out on the street because they are hungry. So if Ghana has started to ease, I think it's okay. I think the best question to ask, how is that easing going on? How is it going on? Because I think you have to take it step by step. Maybe people can now start going to market from this time to this time. You start with that, then maybe later on some offices can be opened that are very essential, or some other types of shops, then you add as you go along. But I'm sure they will not allow people to gather in large crowds immediately, because that is very dangerous.
I agree with you, ma. Let me let you know what some of my viewers, a lot of your fans are saying about you, and this should make you very happy. They are calling you mommy of the world. They say you are the mommy of the world. Some people are saying that you are the queen of Africa. I don't know how they come up with this. And that leads me to my next question. Recently, we read that South Africa invited you to play a role. So what role are you playing in South Africa?
Well, again, we give all glory to God. I have to tell you, Dele, I really mean that seriously. I don't take any of these things lightly. I'm very humble. But the president of South Africa invited me to join his Presidential Economic Council. It's mostly made up of South African economists and social scientists and others. But he decided to add 4 people from outside, 2 of us from the African continent and 2 from outside the continent. And I happened to be one of those he invited, to join, along with the former central bank governor. It's very exciting because we are looking, South Africa, the structure of its economy is also a little bit different from that of Nigeria. They have more manufacturing.
Africans have to take visas to go to Africa. If them I go, they don't even ask questions to go in. But once you bring out a Nigerian passport, even when you have visas, you have to talk about your grandfather and your grandmother before you can be allowed to go in. So how do we deal with this? Because I remember that I think it was in 2016 when President Mahama was the president of Ghana. He liberalized visas to Ghana and said every African passport, you cannot pick your visas on arrival. You can do that in Ghana. You can do that in Rwanda. I go to a lot of these countries. But most countries in Africa still can't see it. But the lesson from Ghana is that the influx of Africans did not increase. As a matter of fact, psychologically, it's when you think you cannot get a visa that you get somewhere and then you refuse to come out because you are not sure if you leave, then you'll be able to come back. So how do we deal with this?
Well, Dele, I'm happy to tell you there's actually good news on that front. The AU has taken this matter seriously because our businessmen and women have also made this point very forcefully to the AU. And they are coming up with an AU passport that will be for all Africans. I think they are doing it in stages. But I can tell you I got one because I'm the chair of an AU organization, and I tested it. And I'm happy to say that South Africa was one country where I showed this passport and I was allowed in faster than anybody. So what we need to do is to find a way so that passport can percolate to ordinary citizens with time. They said they are going to do it in phases. First, they will do the president, prime ministers, then they will do business people, heads of agencies, then they will come to the population. So it will take some time. I'm not trying to tell you tomorrow, but at least it is now on the horizon and it is working. Secondly, many countries have on their own decided to do visa on arrival. I think Nigeria is also doing it. So we need to, before we get this free passport, countries should do visa on arrival as much as possible. I also want to say that when countries allow us in as Nigerians, please let us also behave well when we get there. Please. We should not go. I love my country. I love my people. We shouldn't go to countries and start doing things that are not right. We don't want to be stealing or doing drugs because most Nigerians abroad are professionals. Anywhere you go, Nigerians are the most educated. So let us keep to that image that wherever we are, we don't want certain elements that are doing things that are not right. I will not support that.
Fantastic. Before we go on, I want to play you a special music by a young man called Casey, Omoge Pullover.
I love that song. How do you know?
It's good to see that you are still in touch with home. I'm surprised that you like. Wow.
No, I'm home very, very often. Actually, just before this lockdown, I was about to come home.
Hello.
That's what I mean from morning till night. COVID.
Wow.
Hello?
Wow. Hello. Yes, now I can hear
Hello,
you. I lost you for. I lost you for a moment.
Saying that
yeah.
I've said.
Hello. Oh, it's gone again.
Yeah, I said that you have succeeded in making smile. Yes.
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes, ma'am.
You hear me? Oh. No, I was saying that you have been making me smile. I've not been smiling for so long because of this COVID and the stress is causing everywhere, especially at home. Think of people locked in, it doesn't make smile. But thank God we have to laugh. So
God make us smile. Yes, I was going to throw this one at you. You seem to have so many jobs. Your hands are full with so many jobs. Are you not contributing to unemployment when you alone have so many jobs?
That I like. So, it's a new one. It's a new one. This is a Nigerian one. I'm contributing to unemployment.
You are contributing to unemployment.
The thing is, I have tried very hard. Let me tell you something. Every time that I'm approached, because my hands are full, I always try to give the name of someone else. We have so many talented on the continent. So I try to someone else who can also do the job. Sometimes I succeed, I don't. In these last two cases, I think because of the combination of that I bring to the table, the AU and the WHO, they were very insistent. So, but I'm at my limit. I can't contribute to unemployment again.
No, but I was just going to invite you to join Ovation International. How can you reject my own?
You have to invite some other people.
Oh no, my auntie cannot dump me at this stage. There is no way. or you think I'm not international enough?
You have to invite some other people.
Auntie Ngozi, I said you are too efficient. I said you are too efficient. Now I can see why you get off jobs. I can see why you get off.
I have to be efficient because I don't have a lot of time. So.
Oh, wow. Yes, I know. I must thank you. I forgot to do that at the beginning, but I might as well say it now. I must thank you that you honored me with your presence today, because when I first contacted you and you reeled out your itineraries. I said, oh, I felt like I was being wicked to add more to your pressure. But thank you so much, because a lot of people are locked down at home and they are enjoying you, they are learning from you. Yeah, so the next thing I was going to ask is, could you kindly tell us some of the jobs you've had to undertake over time? I want a long list and the roles you play, and that will be towards the end of this. So we're getting close to the end now.
Okay. Well, I've had a long career of 30 plus years in development. I'm a development economist by training. So when I went to school, I studied economics and I got a doctorate degree because I thought I was going to be a university lecturer like my parents. My parents, my aunt, Professor Gunyemi, my uncle, Professor Kehinde Okonjo, all of them, they are all academics. And my parents, both mother and father. But in the end, I got attracted by the field of development. And after doing my PhD, I decided to apply to the World Bank because one of the summers, when I was doing the PhD, I did a summer job there. Just got lucky and I applied. I didn't know anybody. I sent in an application and they took me as a summer intern. And after working there, I decided, wow, I would like to work here for 2-3 years, get some experience, and then go back home to Nigeria. And so I applied to the World Bank through what they call the Young Professionals Program. At the time I applied, there were like 2,000 applications and they were only taking 50 people. So I was one of the lucky 50. It's even worse these days. They have about 6,000 applications and they are still taking 50. So anyway, I got in, and when I got in, I started doing the job and I found I loved it so much. So I decided to make a career there. And then it took me to work all around the world. So I've worked in Middle East, I've worked in East Asia, I've been the country director for Malaysia, Cambodia, Thailand, Korea, Mongolia. Then Middle East, I was the deputy vice president of the region at one time, responsible for the whole Middle East. And of course, I've worked on Africa. And then when I became managing director, I had the whole world, as my purview. So it's been a huge privilege, a very interesting career. And in between, I was able to be honored by being invited to be finance minister at home 2 times by President Obasanjo and President Jonathan, and in between, foreign minister. Those were not easy jobs, I don't have to tell you.
I know.
It was not an easy time, but I thank God for all we were able to do. And to do many jobs. I went into the private sector as advisor in a firm called Lazard Investments. And I've been doing that. I just left a few months ago, but I had a great time. Switching from government to private sector was very good. And then at the same time, I've been chairing a number of international organizations, chairing their board. So there are 2, Gavi, the Global Vaccine Alliance, which takes care of vaccinating 60% of the children in the developing world. Can you imagine? I'm very, very, very proud of this organization. We are active in Nigeria, very active. And we've vaccinated 760 million children, and we have saved 13 million lives. So that's a very great organization. I also chair the board of the African Risk Capacity, which is an organization of the African Union. And what they do is that they try to help countries to manage climate change and weather-based events. So countries come to us for insurance, they buy insurance. And if they have a drought, for instance, the thing will trigger and will pay them. You know the way insurance works. So it helps countries to manage some of the unexpected events that they have. So I chair those two organizations, and I can go on and on. I'm on the boards of several others. Twitter, I love being on the Twitter board.
I was going to ask you that because I'm very active on Twitter.
Yeah. Nigerians are very active, and that is why I said to Jack Dorsey that he has to visit Africa, because there are a lot of young Africans, young, old, middle-aged, everybody, they're on Twitter. So I said, you must come and see what it's like. He had never been to Africa before.
Wow.
So last year, I persuaded him, he came, he visited about 5 countries, and I said, you must start with my country, Nigeria, which he did. And he ended up loving Nigeria, loving Ethiopia, loving Ghana. He really loved the countries he went to. And I think he met dynamic young Nigerians when he was there. You know, I was technology, where I'm also chair of the board. We had a session there, and he spoke there, and it was fantastic. What was fantastic was not so much Jack, but the young Nigerians who came up, from students in that institution to others from outside, who had so many apps they had developed, so many good ideas, so many challenges for him. So I felt very, very proud. You know, we must encourage our young people and support their ideas. So anyway, so Twitter and some other boards, I don't want to bore you, but a lot of...
No, we're not bored, ma. I'm enjoying this. We're not bored at all. You know, if you are that busy, I just want to know how you are able to multitask.
I multitask. I'm a very good multitasker, because in between, you have to remember I have a family too. I have a husband, I have children, I have grandchildren, and I have to make time. But somehow my life I've been multitasking. So it's nothing new. I think women are good at that. You men, you're not so good at multitasking. You know, I can be reading a document and cooking at the same time.
Wow. That's why some of us were hoping and wishing that you will be president someday. But
Dele, please, let us not talk about that topic. Let's keep to the topic we
we're
have
not
now.
talking about it. I was talking about wishes. If wishes were horses, you know, beggars would ride. So
yeah, don't wish. You know, Nigeria. Let us just focus, because that topic is hot potato.
Very, very delicate. I know. I understand.
Yeah. So
is there any time? Yeah. Is there any time you wake up and you wonder where you slept the night before?
There have been. There have absolutely been times, because, you know, one of the things I'm enjoying now, sad as it is that we are grounded here and locked in because of COVID. But you know, what is happening now is I'm working even harder, or as hard, 14 hours, but I'm not traveling. And I'm enjoying that, because now all the conferences, all the meetings, all the interaction, any of these platforms. And that is really a blessing. I hope that when this crisis is over, we will do more using technology, because traveling was too much. So that led me to, one day I'll say, where am I? Am I in London? Am I in Singapore? You know, am I in Shanghai?
Is there any country you haven't been to?
A few, but I've been to many. I've been going to East Asia a lot this time. But I have to tell you, Dele, I feel blessed. I really enjoy what I'm doing. I really am having the time of my life. So I want to thank God and appreciate God for that. You know, and I want to appreciate Nigerians for always being so supportive. You know, I just feel the love, and I love them back.
Oh, fantastic. They love you too. I wish you could see the comments here. I won't even bother to read, because I know you are very sensitive to so many things, you know, and people, your fans, your diehard fans are going on and on. Later, maybe you will see them and then you can have a good laugh. Before we end it, can you tell me, Ma, which has been your most pleasurable job of all these jobs? Which has been your most pleasurable?
Ooh. Oh, wow. You know, Dele, that is so hard to say. I'll tell you why. I think I had a wonderful time in the World Bank. I have to admit that. Because I was able to move from one region of the world to the other so many times over a long career. I really saw a lot. I learned a lot. I always like jobs where I'm learning. If I'm not learning, then it's not worth it. Like these two things, envoy for WHO and AU. As I'm going along, I'm learning a lot. So that's me. So I've enjoyed my job in the bank because I was learning all the time as I was giving. Now, when you come to the jobs at home, when I was finance minister, I cannot say that being finance minister was fun. That would not be telling the truth, because that was some job where nobody likes you. Everybody is there to criticize you. You can never do right because you're always saying no to somebody. But the reason I would say that I loved it is because it enabled me to give back to my country. We forget that our country gives us so much. We don't appreciate. That's why I always tell people, if you're angry, please don't be angry at Nigeria. You can be angry at individuals who may not be doing their things well, but the country itself has given us so much. And I find it one of the most interesting countries. It's very challenging as a country, very difficult. But at the same time, that is so important. So I can't say it was enjoyable, but I felt very committed to the job of finance. I was 100% committed, maybe overcommitted, Seth.
Yeah, I could feel that. Anytime I watch you speak on CNN or any of the channels, one could feel the passion and the burning patriotism in you. Okay, some people are insisting I must ask you this. They said they are getting inspired. How did your mom and your dad manage to raise such a great woman? What were yeah.
Dele, let me say, I'm not trying to be too modest, but let me tell you one of the things that inspires me. I find so many great men and women at home. I find them. They are there. And that's why we must do better as a country, because we've got what it takes. So when you say to me, you're a great woman, there are many great men and women. So we must ask ourselves, with all these people, why aren't we doing better? So I don't think I'm exceptional or anything in Nigeria. I think there are many, many people who are like me, better than me, and so on. And I would want us to think very hard. This is what people keep asking me. Why is it we're always meeting good Nigerians, but you have so many problems in your country? It's a very big dichotomy. So even though my parents raised me, I think my grandmother raised me and my parents raised me. When I was very young, I lived in the village with my grandmother because my parents were abroad studying. They left me when I was 1 year old with my grandmother for the first 8 years. I had a very loving grandmother, but she was also quite strict. So I learned going to the stream, going to the farm, fetching firewood. I learned how to cook by the time I was 6, 7, to do everything. So I'm not an ajebota. Some people think I'm maybe like after that, I'm a jepako,
Wow.
After that experience and having gone through the war, the Nigeria-Biafra War, 1967 to 1970, where we had nothing. We lost everything. Didn't go to school for 3 years, lost all our belongings, came out. I only went to school for 6 months when my mother finally started a school. For the remaining 2.5 years, we didn't go to school. So we came out and we had nothing. So I tell you, I'm the type of person who can sleep on the floor today, and tomorrow I can sleep in a feather bed. I can do all of that, So that's my life. And my parents brought us up to feel humble, not entitled. They were always saying, especially my father who passed a few months ago, he used to remind us education is a privilege, not a right. If you're educated, it is not for you to benefit yourself alone. You must use it to benefit other people around you. You must try to give back. Give back. That's what they taught us. So that is what has governed my life, looking for ways and means to give back on the national level, on the local level, in my community, as well as the international level.
Wow. To say I am grateful will be an understatement because I know how busy you are. So before you go, I think we have just a few minutes. I will play you another music, and I hope you will enjoy it. I hope you will enjoy it.
Dele.
Yes,
thank you very
thank you
much.
so much for being on this program.
Okay, thank you.
Whenever I pray, Lord, you hear me. I'm not alone this time. Love the song of praise. I'm gonna do.
Okay, Nedo.
Okay. Okay, bye-bye, Dele.
Thank you, ma. Thank you so much. Shema. Shema. Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, ma. And so we have come to the end of this program, and we're indeed very grateful to Auntie Ngozi. I mean, she is so interesting, such an interesting woman. We need to show in our own way. We'll be playing music, but we'll allow Auntie Ngozi to go and continue.